Hi, my name is Mrs. Bober and welcome to the Geometry Accel 2020-2021 Virtual Open House. Tonight we'll be going over a number of things. We're going to be talking about the Geometry Accel course and the remote experience that will come with the course this school year. I'll be talking about feedback that you'll see via grades that will happen on Infinite Campus and also Canvas. And then we'll also be talking about the different technologies that we'll be able to integrate within the course. First, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jill Bober, and I am excited to be your son or daughter's teacher this academic school year. I am an LT graduate myself, and I'm beyond grateful to be back in the community that raised me and my three younger sisters. I've been teaching and coaching at LT for the last 7 years. I have had the opportunity to coach the sports that I also played in high school, both volleyball and basketball. I currently coach the varsity girls volleyball team and the JV boys volleyball team. My love of math started at a young age, but really developed into a love of working with others and thinking critically about math problems. My role model to teaching still works at LT and is in the math department. And yes, I still call her Mrs. Van Winkle. I live in the South Loop neighborhood with my husband and dog, Bellatrix. For our remote learning classroom, we will be meeting on Zoom, Mondays for those 35 minutes, and then those alternating days, Tuesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Friday for 75 minutes. I really have started to value those 75-minute class periods just due to the length of the time that I have to work with students and the variety of activities that we're able to do. A typical day, we will start with some sort of warm-up. We'll talk about the agenda for the day. We'll go over any homework questions or anything that I can clarify as far as the agenda or the course for students. And then we'll go into some extra practice time or some activity time. Every class period, I also like to schedule some time for some breakout rooms. And whether those breakout rooms are individual or in their group breakout rooms, I do think that that time is valuable just to provide some variety. And then we'll come back together and do some sort of closure of that synchronous activity after about 70 minutes. During our breakout times, we've been playing around with a lot of different experiences. During the students' breakout time, we've been doing some check-ins individually and also group with me. We've been working on some practice or formative assignments. Watching instructional videos is also something that we'll be able to do. And then the last one, working with peers, I think that will be huge. This Zoom environment, while it is a challenge, I think it offers a really good experience for students to work collaboratively with each other and to really connect with their peers in that way. There will be times where I'll have students turn on their video when it is accessible, and opportunities for students to turn off their video. And again, this depends on the activity. I understand the Zoom fatigue and the amount of screen time that our students are seeing on a daily basis, but I also value the time to interact with students and for students to interact with their peers. So I do try to balance that out. As far as the geometry curriculum, we are covering 6 units for this first semester. We are starting with our essentials of geometry, moving on to our reasoning and proof. Then we get into our relationships with triangles, triangle congruence, parallel and perpendicular lines, and then quadrilaterals and polygons. I would say the content from last year to this year is very, very similar. It has stayed consistent. Something that we've changed for all geometry teachers is the length of proofs and how in depth that we get with those proofs for Unit 2 and Unit 4, which I think that it's going to be a really great change. We are able to do some more focus on some direct conclusions and work with students to really make sure they understand those connections between geometry and that real world. And for them to make those geometric then to algebraic connections. We do a lot of focus on algebra pretty much in all of the units. We make sure that students are very capable of solving your multi-step linear equations. We make sure students are able to solve quadratics and systems, so they're very well prepared for standardized tests and also Algebra 2. Material-wise, I would say it's pretty consistent for all of our math courses here at LT. I would say the big difference between other courses and this course, I really emphasize that a highlighter is helpful, especially to highlight angles, to highlight segments within our more complex diagrams. I do find that that is beneficial. And as always, I encourage my students, yes, to use your loose leaf paper, but put that paper in an organized way in a binder or a folder. So whether it's a loose leaf paper or it's a notebook, so we can easily reference all of our geometry content. As far as grading in Geometry Accel, students will receive a grade, and this will be a percentage grade. The breakdown is listed, and it's calculated through the summative unit test. So all of our tests are going to be put together to create our overall grade in Geometry Accel. The formative grades that you see on Infinite Campus, that provides feedback for you, for me, to see how they're doing up until that summative unit test. So we'll have formative quizzes, and that will be graded on a percentage. They'll be given a certain amount of points based off of that overall total. Additionally, we'll do some formative practice as well. Those grades will go in as missing, incomplete, or turned in, just so you can see that effort. I can see that effort that our students are putting in to really understand the complexities of this geometry concepts. And then, of course, we have our summative tests, and that ranges from 0 to 100%, and those are entered as our unit test scores. Students will have the opportunity to retake our summative tests, just as long as they complete the review packet and they put in some extra work and reschedule a summative retake time with me. Also a note, every Friday I will be updating those formative practice scores, and then I update those summative tests and formative quizzes as soon as possible, as soon as those are graded. But you will see those formative practice scores updated every single Friday, whether it's turned in late, whether it's missing, whether it's incomplete. I found that updating Friday provides for some consistency for students, for parents to see going into the weekend. And then the technology that we are using in the course this semester, I'm really excited to be able to use a lot of these different technology resources. I actually have my master's in educational technology, so I've been playing with a lot of these websites and a lot of these different resources. So it's been really fun for me to be able to implement this technology in a remote experience. The technology is used to make the experience more interactive, more collaborative for students, and to provide opportunities for learning, and obviously supporting students to make sure they really understand these concepts in the complex and depth that we need. Again, we'll use a variety of technology, and I'm working to balance so it's not crazy overwhelming. I think we're going to be slowly integrating these technologies into the course. Looking at this list, we use 4 out of the 5 already, and I'm excited to start integrating some other ones. So things that you'll see pretty consistently is our Edpuzzles, and these actually have been going in as formative grades. These are the videos prior to the class time. So they will actually watch a 10 to 15 minute video about the content of geometry. And then when we're in class together, we'll really emphasize those concepts. We'll be able to create some more complex algebraic equations and think more critically about things. So the preview of the material is through those Edpuzzles. Delta Math is a website that students have been able to log into and actually practice a lot of these skills that we have in geometry, just to reinforce their understanding of the content. Additionally, we will use Desmos. We have not used that yet. but we'll talk about creating your angles and creating some constructions there. Canvas is something that all of our students are very, very familiar with, I believe. And it just goes over, you know, it has all of the links to everything possible, our Zoom link, our notes, our, you know, Google Slides, whatever we're working on that day. And I think I have it structured really nicely so students are able to access that. And additionally, Pear Deck, I love this piece of technology just because it is an interactive piece of technology. I'm able to get feedback from students really, really quickly and assess where they are at this present moment and what I will need to do to get those students either, you know, encourage those students or get those students up to pace. Again, I want to thank you for your time tonight, for stopping in and listening about this Geometry Excel course. If you have questions or concerns, please contact me at Jill Bober or jbober@lths.net. Jill Bober is my name. The course syllabus is listed on Canvas, so our students or your student can access that syllabus that way, or I would be happy to shoot you an email with that information as well. Thank you again for your time and have a great night.